Imagine the moment when your first child is born. This can be one of the most difficult and perhaps traumatizing, but beautiful and joyous moments of your entire life. The moment you hold your newborn child for the first time and you're looking down at them as they take their first ever breaths of air and you gaze into their eyes for the first time. In that instant, the person that you were before will never be the same again. The world is pretty much the same as it used to be, but you see it from a very different perspective. Your priorities change, you've new responsibility and new meaning, new hopes and new fears. When we experience life-changing moments like this, they have the power to shatter our perceptions of who we are and our place in the world. Your sense of identity has shifted, and not just on a conscious level. About 95% of the change that is occurring within you would be unconscious. The floods of emotion that you would experience would be overwhelming, but again, not only on a conscious level. Your brain would literally be flooded with neurochemicals in a way that it may never have been before, catalyzing the rewiring of neural pathways and networks. We can rarely control when these kinds of life-changing events happen to us. But what if we didn't have to wait for life to shake us up? What if we could initiate our own identity-shifting events? When we experience life-changing or shattering events, they can sometimes be wonderful, like the birth of a child, or they can be difficult, like the end of a relationship. We can feel like we're on a roller coaster of emotion and chaos. Yet, even through the chaos, there's often a sense of necessity, as if something had to shift to make way for the next chapter in your life. Think of a forest spanning hundreds of miles, supporting hundreds if not thousands of different life forms. The forest is very old, and there hasn't been a forest fire for a long time. Dead wood has accumulated, and the undergrowth has become choked, preventing the fulfillment of potential of vibrant life. A forest fire, while initially destructive, acts as the catalyst for change and renewal. It clears away the old and what is blocking the emergence of new growth, opening space for sunlight and nutrients to fuel a new era of vitality. The thing is, the longer a forest fire does not happen, the more and more deadwood accumulates, and the more intense and destructive the fire will be when it does happen. Our inner world can function much in the same way. We cling to old ways of being, habits, beliefs, when they no longer serve us. This creates a choking of our potential for new growth. We might feel bored, experience a sense of longing, or feel frustrated because we are struggling to take things to the next level. This is when we need a catalyzing force that can trigger shifts and make way for a new and unique growth to occur. Did you know that in some forests in the world, there are particular types of plants that need a forest fire to happen so they can germinate? This plant's seed lies dormant under the soil until the heat of the fire triggers them to grow. What potential could be lying dormant under the surface of your identity, waiting for a catalyst to trigger new growth? When we experience significant life events, our identities are forced to shift. It's not just about our conscious thoughts and feelings though, as I mentioned. Our brains physically change. Let's go into this a bit more. Imagine your brain is filled with a massive network of roads. These are your neural networks. Every habit, belief, and thought that you have travels along these roads. The more often a thought is used, the stronger and wider that road becomes. But think of these roads as being made of clay, not concrete. Neuroplasticity means that they are constantly being reshaped by experience. This is why children learn so quickly, because their brains are so malleable. As an adult, it is harder to change, but it's still possible. Life-changing events act kind of like an earthquake, crumbling some of those old, familiar roads and forcing us to build new ones. This can be disorienting at first, but it also creates space for us to pave new paths that better reflect the person that we're becoming. We can't control what life throws at us, but we can consciously harness the power of neuroplasticity. By deliberately changing our norms we can shake up those established pathways in our brains. Imagine these changes like miniature earthquakes forcing us to rebuild and expand our sense of self. I call this practice identity shocking. This isn't about reckless life changes. Even small, intentional disruptions can shake up our neural networks, forcing our brains to adapt and forge new pathways. So how do you actually put identity shocking into practice? Here are 4 simple ways to try. 1 is changing your appearance, and you can do this by cutting your hair or changing your style or wearing different clothes that you normally wouldn't wear every day. Something that will make you double take yourself every time you see yourself in the mirror, like a mini shock to your self-image. 2 is changing your roles. You can do this by considering to get a new or different job, going to a new class or studying something, or going to different groups and social events. Stepping into unfamiliar roles forces you to adapt, revealing hidden skills and expanding your sense of what you're capable of. Number 3 is changing your location. You can do this by moving into a new place or into your own place, or moving in with someone else, perhaps going traveling. Or if you've already been traveling for a while, then you can consider sticking in one place for a while. New surroundings stimulate new thought patterns, breaking you out of ruts and showing you how adaptable you are. Number 4 is changing your norms. And by that I mean your routine things that you've become used to, the things that are just normal for you now. So you could change your car, or you could get a new sofa, or you could redecorate your home, or you could just rearrange your furniture. Maybe just taking a different route to work, or changing the gym that you go to. Even small disruptions to your routine can have a ripple effect, highlighting habits that you hadn't noticed and opening space for new ways of doing things. Life-changing events can act as powerful catalysts for transformation and growth. But we don't have to wait for life to throw us this kind of curveball for this kind of change to occur. With intentional identity shocking, it's possible to start a metaphorical forest fire within yourself, to burn away the old and make way for the new. Just as the phoenix is engulfed in flames and reborn out of the ashes, with courage, you too will be made anew and experience the vital energy of new growth.